Hey everybody, welcome to the VHS Bandits Podcast, and today we're going to be talking to a very special guest. We're talking to Toby Canto over in Austin, Texas, and he just made his brand new movie called Knock Knock. So why don't we open the door into this podcast and pop in the tape.
You've taken something of mine, something old, something prized.
Do you really know who I am? Do you have any idea? You throw Stonefist around like it means something.
I may be a lot of things, Stonefist, but I'm an A #1 tenant, through and through.
Gretchen, you're a woman of science, for Christ's sakes.
I prefer to think of myself as a woman who appreciates cool shit.
It.
Assuming he's an undead blood-sucking demon from hell, did you guys figure out what your next move was going to be?
Hey everybody, and welcome again to the VHS Bandits Podcast. I'm Dane Train, and I am with my co-host over in LA.
Topher Henson, as you would say my name. Dane,
That's right.
As you did on the last episode.
That's right. This is Topher Henson.
Henson.
That's how you answer the show. That's how you do
yeah.
it. Oh my God! All right, and of course, over here we got a really special guest, all the way from Austin, Texas. We're talking to Toby Canto. What's up, dude?
How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, right. Dude.
Thanks for being on.
Not off, but on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
So, as you guys might have heard from the trailer at the beginning, we're talking about Toby's kick-ass new horror comedy movie called Knock Knock. I'm gonna do that.
I
every
feel like
time
I just need to recut a new trailer just so I can feature like that snippet at the end.
There you go.
You're hammering it. I'm loving it.
So
Tell us to say some bullshit that you can put on the cover. The
we go.
VHS
Yeah.
Bandits
Yeah,
say the best movie ever made.
absolutely dash the VHS Bandits podcast. So what I'm gonna do is so you gave us a real super secret red carpet VIP screening of the movie. So we both had a chance to eat some junk food and watch the movie. And
That's the perfect way to watch it.
of course that
Very
is
true.
there's no better way. So
I wish I had some Nostradamus. Piestradamus
Oh,
pizza.
Piestradamus pizza.
Piestradamus. Oh man, that commercial that
was-
kicks off
that
the
was
movie
awesome.
is very good.
So we're
Is that how you screen it?
Yeah, that's how I play it for people. It was one of the when we were like initially when I was writing up the script, my brother was the art director, and he was like, so he's like, you need to give me ideas for what you want for the pizza company and these books and all these places that people are at. And I tried to really think of something that was like fun and unique. And originally I was just coming up with this really generic Italian name, and for some reason I was at work writing, and then all of a sudden like this idea came for this Piestradamus pizza, and I was like, this is like an absurd horror themed pizza company. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized the imagery of like this Illuminati triangle, but it's a pizza slice.
Yeah.
And in the commercial, Nostradamus is holding a pizza slice. And
I
told
love that logo.
Yeah, I told my brother, and he's all like, "I got it." And within like a couple days, he showed me both logos, and I was like, "We need both of them. I love both of them so much." So it was perfect timing. But yeah, that's how I screen the movie. I make sure people watch the commercial first.
yeah,
Sweet,
awesome.
sweet.
Dude,
So for people that haven't seen the movie yet, before the movie starts, there's this fake commercial for Piestradamus, a pizza shop. But before we get ahead of ourselves here, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and your movie making background, and tell us about Knock Knock.
Cool. My name's Toby Canto. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona. I moved down to Austin about 6 years ago. I was working with a group of buddies, doing comedy sketches, short films, stuff like that. Within, I would say, the last about year and a half, 2 years, I've kind of redirected my focus to building on my own brand, my own company, Pop Art Pictures, and just making the films that I've been wanting to make. Back in Arizona when I was at school, I did the media arts program. It was awesome. I was emphasis in producing. And our final project, which I always love to tell people, was a feature-length film, and it was the first feature film that my school had ever really done. I don't think a movie had filmed there since Revenge of the Nerds, the first one. And there hasn't been a movie since, because apparently the making of that movie was so crazy. The University of Arizona said never again.
Oh, wow. Too much bush. Too much bush.
Yeah, exactly. Too much.
Or not enough, perhaps.
Yeah. And our senior year, my producing class, the first semester was supposed to be helping the production students finish up their short films, their thesis films, and then we found out that the second semester we actually had like nothing planned, which was kind of crazy because I really thrived on like doing the work and being I really loved the environment, and we got an opportunity to check out the American film market. And we got to witness the distribution and buying and selling of some of the shittiest looking movies I've ever seen. I mean, it was like when Ginger Dead Man 2 was coming out. I mean, there was just crazy stuff. And, when we were flying back...
Are you saying Ginger Dead Man 2 is a shitty movie?
Hey, yeah,
no,
what are you trying to say here?
I'm talking about the... No, the other ones. It was funny because it was actually... There was a poster.
It's not a gotcha show. It's fine.
Whoa, you started off on the wrong foot here, Toby.
Toby Canto's exposed.
We're really big.
He doesn't like Evil Bong meets Ginger Dead Man. It was crazy. There was a poster for Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler when he was trying to sell the distribution rights to make the movie, and it was when Nicolas Cage was still going to star the movie, not Mickey Rourke.
Oh, no way. Crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. I remember I was like, because I had heard rumors about the movie happening, and then it was like, Nicolas Cage, The Wrestler. I mean, I bet you could probably fucking sell that thing on eBay. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I say...
Yeah, cuss as much as you want.
It might just slip out.
No, that's totally fine.
You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that we talk about on this show, dude.
But when we were flying back, we're like, we're seeing this stuff being bought and sold, and we're like, why don't we try this ourselves? And, we told our teacher the following class, we're thinking about making a film. Can we do that for our second semester? And he was like, if you guys can give us a script within the Christmas break, which was, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, he's like, well, I'll let you make your movie. And I think it was what he was secretly planning from the very beginning, because he comes from a total just like, do it. That's the best way to learn is make movies. He worked for Roger Corman. He had already done 2 independent films himself.
Cool.
And
there we go.
Yeah, it was awesome. I actually, he taught a Roger Corman class my last year there. What? And I took it. Yeah, it was awesome. It was so fucking cool.
Class. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Damn.
I mean, the thing is, most people don't realize how much influence he had in bringing really respectable independent foreign films because of his, I think it was American Imperial International Pictures or whatever, AIP. And he brought like Fitzcarraldo and Werner Herzog films and Asian films and Danish films. It was insane. And so like his influence is massive. And I mean, that was what was a great thing about the class. But we held a pitch meeting after, like, later that day, and everybody got to pitch a concept. And I had this idea floating around in my head called Dorm of the Dead, which was supposed to be like the Towering Inferno, but with zombies in a dorm.
Okay.
And it won. And so me and my buddy Mike, we wrote a draft within 2.5 weeks. It was insane, but I loved every minute of it. And we gave it to our teacher, and he's like, get ready, because this is what we're going to do the whole semester. And for 6 months, we, from pre-production to production to execution and post, and we did the whole thing, and it was crazy. And what was nuts about it the most is that, I really enforced, I wanted everybody to do whatever they felt was the driving force that they wanted to do in film. So people got to do locations that always wanted to, be the person that finds the spots. There was producers, and, I co-directed because one of the guys wanted to direct as well. And I was like, yeah, why don't we do this together? We're all still in school. We all have other finals. Let's do this together. And it was just the most rewarding experience I've ever had out of school. And, you know, it was like one of those moments where you realize, like, this is what I need to be doing. This is what it's what I wanted, but this is what I need to do. Nice. And we finished the movie. And what's even more nuts is that one of the guys that gave us a tour when we were doing the American film market ended up getting the movie. And it is now, you can buy it on DVD on Amazon. And yeah, so Dorm of the Dead, you guys can check that out as well.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I definitely want to see that.
Nice. When's that coming out of VHS?
You know, after but you know, after that, it was just kind of I ended up producing a couple films, a feature film called Summertime Killers, which was a great movie. Unfortunately, we still haven't gotten distribution, but it was about a friend of mine who's a writer director, and it was a kind of a autobiographic story about him and his friends selling weed when they were like 11, 12, maybe even younger than that, maybe 10, and how things kind of went south, at least especially for some of his friends. He kind of culminated a bunch of their stories and talked about how it got too crazy for some of them. And then I believe I produced something else. Oh, I produced another film for a group of guys. But moving down to Austin, I was kind of ready to do another feature. And I was working with some friends here doing, like I said, comedy sketches, short films, and it got to a point where I was just really hungry to do my own stuff. So, forming, you know, getting pop art pictures off the ground, and I was ready to tackle the horror genre one more time. And Knock Knock was the baby that was born. So
awesome.
Good job well done.
It's
a really funny movie. I laughed out loud several
I really appreciate
times.
it.
And you wrote it as well, too?
Yeah. I wrote it as well. I did quite a bit. It was a lot of hats really that I put on that movie.
Yeah. That's the name of the game in movie filmmaking. I know. Yeah, even in your credits, I noticed you said thanks for everyone for doing multiple jobs, which is always the case. It's nice of you to give them the shout out for that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about just a summary of Knock Knock?
Yeah, so Knock Knock is the story of an ex-fighter, boxer, on the eve of his 60th birthday, and he's in a not good place. He's really kind of looking back at his life and not happy with where it's at. And he's getting off of work really late one night. He's a trainer at a gym, and he gets back to his kind of shitty apartment, and one by one, his very eccentric neighbors surprise him with their presence, and under the guise that it's a surprise birthday party, but he soon finds out that they're trying to have what they call a concerned residence meeting, because the new neighbor who moved down their hallway is very mysterious, very weird, and they think he's a vampire. So they spend the rest of the movie trying to convince Sam and the audience whether or not this mysterious neighbor is a member of the undead.
Spooky. I love the characters in this. Every character has their own voice. It's not like a lot of independent movies will have multiple characters, but they're all essentially the same person. And I think the writing on this is very good. All the characters are all individuals. They all have different personalities. They all have their own voices and their own senses of humor.
Yeah. And, thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I really, and me and Dane Train are filmmakers ourselves, so
awesome.
So we know how your struggle with indie filmmaking and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm glad. I mean, I'm really glad you guys like the characters. I mean, that was kind of essentially the selling point of the movie when I first was kind of conceiving it. There was this idea of this mystery of what's in the box and what's with the neighbor. And it was originally just supposed to be two characters, Sam the boxer and Olivia. And the more I thought about it, the more I like ensembles. There's something about it. I love multiple characters in a movie, and especially people who play off each other. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized that I needed more personalities to kind of contrast and play off each other. And I always love a super group. So the idea that these four kind of strangers in turn really become like a family. So when I was telling people, it was originally a story about a mystery that turned into a story about a family. So.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we all kind of we were talking a little bit before we started the show, like our favorite character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So who would you say is your favorite character?
I have to say, I can't. I love them all. It's like a weird thing where it's like they're all my babies, and I can't pick one because they each have a moment that always, like, when I was writing, I was like, oh my god, like, I would love to hang out with this person. I would love to hang out with this person. So I can't really pick one, but I am super curious that you guys had your own, because that's the one thing I asked every single person watching was, who's your favorite character?
Who do you think? If you had to guess,
who do I have to say, Dragon has been very popular, so there's a possibility it's Dragon is what I'm gonna throw.
yeah.
Dane Train.
I'm very much on the fence between Dragon and Stonefist because
I love that name.
Like,
it sounds like a movie we'd watch.
Dragon is awesome because he's like this wacky dude, but I kind of like, I don't know. I have a thing for characters that just kind of like, God, I've had a shitty day. You know, stop hassling.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Real Murtaugh kind of characters. So I liked him a lot. I thought it was cool. I like the fact that, like, you know, he had the makeup that looked like, you know, he had been kind of like boxing all day, and his hair's kind of, you know what I mean, and he's got like his tracksuit on and stuff, and like I don't know, like I liked his character a lot. To me, his character had a lot of depth, and you know, there's like that sort of estranged thing between him and his kid, and you know, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to give away too much about the movie here. Obviously, you know, that's the thing is, like, you know, whenever you do these kind of interview things, you don't want to give away too much. You want to keep people wanting more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but
so
that's
I don't
great,
wanna,
though. No, I'm really glad.
I don't want to give away too much. But yeah, like, yeah. So T-Man, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta say you were right. Dragon, I think, is my favorite character. Like, but I do have to say, Olivia and the actress who played her, Sissy Berry, I thought she was phenomenal. I thought she was really awesome. Good. All the actors were really good.
Yeah.
But I just want to mention her specifically. And the dragon character. Sorry, I'm trying to look up the IMDb. What's the actor's name?
His name is Chuck Hell. Is his stage name? Is his stage name?
Hell. That's the perfect name. Like, he's the perfect guy to play this. I think he did it so. And it like, you know, it could easily go like way over the top with a character like that, but I think he brought it down to earth and made it like believably silly. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and he was very honest in his ridiculousness.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, that's really great because I mean, when I wrote the movie, I knew every single person I wanted to play it, and I had worked with everybody before, so I really tried to focus on everybody's nuance and how they could play off each other with a little bit more exaggerated like character. And Chuck was a guy who had done several like sketches. We did this ridiculous sketch called Negotiations about these 4 meth addicts trying to convince a friend of theirs to do meth again because, you know, they're like, why is, you know, we used to be friends but you're not friends anymore because you don't do meth. Like, there's a problem. Yeah. And he killed it. He was so freaking funny. And he's a huge horror buff. You know, he loves horror movies. He loves VHS movies. And when I told him I had this idea about this like retired truck driver, de facto vampire hunter, he was so down. It wasn't even funny. And we did a lot of practices. We did a lot of like cast readings, and then we kind of went up to like open spaces, and I just kind of allowed everybody to kind of just have fun with the material. And through those practices, we were able to kind of hit those nuances and make sure that maybe some of the performances didn't go maybe too crazy, but felt just right. So that's awesome. Hearing you say that makes me feel really happy that it did get sold in the right way.
Yeah, I think you definitely hit the sweet spot between you know, ridiculousness and reality.
Yeah.
And creating a ridiculous reality within the movie.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask about the running time. It's about 58 minutes, so a little under an hour.
Yeah.
Now, is that by design or by budget? Because this movie seems like it could be a feature.
Yeah. It was purely by accident is really what happened. Like, this movie was supposed to be 30 minutes, like, straight up. And through the course of the filming, things got changed, pages got added, things got fleshed out. And at the end of the day, when I edited, you know, it turned out to be this like 55 to 58 minute thing. And I kind of stared at it and I was like, I wasn't able to shoot anymore because I felt like I had the story that I wanted, and I didn't want to cut anything out because, like, same thing, I felt like I had hit the points I wanted to hit. So I kind of just looked at it as a macro short is what I called it, almost like a pilot.
Yeah.
And so it just was, you know, something. And I guess in some ways it kind of reminded me of the first time I saw Army of Darkness, which was like, I think like 70 minutes, maybe. It's like 73 minutes, 75 minutes, which I was always really shocked that a movie was like that short. But
yeah,
you know, yeah, it was by accident, but you know, it is what it is. So
is there any plans to make a feature or bring back these characters in any way or repackage this somehow?
Yeah, what if you make a sequel called like More Knock Knocks or Knock Knock Again? You know what I mean?
Or Who's There? I always think like the Now You See Me should.
There you go. Yeah.
I had afterwards, you know, I was so happy with kind of how everything played out. I did have some time to think about it, and I have some very, very crazy ideas for a sequel, and it would involve the characters on a road trip, kind of after the aftermath of how this movie ends, kind of having to deal with the source, because they're in a perpetual state of being attacked. So they have to like basically nip it at the bud and go to the source and be like, leave us the fuck alone. And so, but it's a bigger movie. It would require a much bigger budget.
Right.
And so I definitely would love to return to these characters, because I have basically an idea for 2 more films. And yeah, I think right now with this, it's just a matter of I'm happy with where Knock Knock 1 is, and I just kind of want to get it out there and get people watching and hopefully have fun with it. I mean, that's the big thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun movie.
Yeah.
I totally wanted to talk about that bitchin' soundtrack.
Yes.
I love. So I'm a
Very
big
good.
I'm a big fan of 80s synth stuff, and the music was just right up my alley. And I saw so when you sent me an email, you know, with the screener copy and all that, and there was the soundtrack on there. So tell me about, like, you know, who is the I forgot what his name was, but tell me a bit about the soundtrack in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew what I wanted from the very beginning with this movie, and, you know, it is a straight homage to 80s horror movies, and a big influence on me is John Carpenter. And there was a gentleman who was a friend of a friend. We'd always hang out at parties. He's in a metal band himself called Lucid Dementia, but he has this passion for making music for films. And when he heard about the movie, he's like, dude, this is it. I want to be a part. Whatever you want, just let me know. And we got a chance to sit down, and I said, I want to make this soundtrack evocative of Carpenter. I want this to be, you know, straight up synthwave. And I want, you know, Turbo Kid, Le Machos and everything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I got it. And so over the course of editing, I had tracks that were kind of an inspiration, that would be like, you know, I kind of want to sound like this. He's like, perfect. Like, you know, he's like, always give me something to kind of understand where you're coming from tonally, and I'll work off that. And he would just surprise the shit out of me every time he sent me a track. When he sent me the first track of the movie, when the movie starts, I got fucking chills. It was like, when everything sunk up, and, you know, it starts with that moonshot, and it starts to like build, and then Sam's walking to his car, and as Sam calls his son, it just kickstarted for me, and I was like, this fucking movie's happening. And I've never been more excited just to kind of have something that really emphasized everything that I wanted it to be. And he busted his ass, man. He did such, I remember one time he did like 6 tracks in one day. We were trying to get ready for a festival in Arizona that we got into, and it was great. And they were allowed us to have temporary tracks, which some festivals do, some festivals don't. You know, we were still kind of in the process of finishing stuff. And he's like, no, I don't want any temporary tracks. I can do this.
Yeah.
And he just sent me these tracks. And I was just like, how did you hit the nail on the head? Like, every time. He was just on point. I think, you know, we were kind of simpatico in that way, that we knew exactly how to make this thing come alive. And his music only just emphasized that. And there's, you know, 2 or 3 tracks that really just every time I hear them, it just sends a good chill down my spine. Where I'm like, oh my god, I love this so much.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I really love there's that main theme with like the piano and then like the staccato bass line.
Mhm.
You know, the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one's that's probably my favorite one from the film. It shows up a couple times.
yeah, yeah.
Is the soundtrack like released in different parts? Like if anyone wanted to just listen to it, do you have any plans of doing that maybe? Or
Yeah, you can actually purchase that link that I sent you. You can actually just purchase the soundtrack right there. Steamin Khanum is the artist, and he has his own. He has a lucid dementia. He also has his own independent work, Redundant Nature. But his Bandcamp page, I think, is Steamin Khanum, or Bandcamp Steamin Khanum Knock Knock. He's got the whole soundtrack there for purchase.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes for
absolutely.
anyone
absolutely.
who's listening. And maybe if it's okay, we'll play one of the songs at the end. If you want to
Please
pick
do,
one
man.
out, we can
Please do.
play one for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm super curious because I don't know if you've seen on our page, but we have been making a lot of our own VHS Bandits home video releases, and obviously, Knock Knock is available on VHS. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of how you produced these tapes, how you made them, how you're distributing them, things like that?
Yeah. They're like a crazy promotional item that was a last-minute idea that Rachel Aderson, who plays Gretchen, kind of told me like off the cuff, and she was just like, you should consider putting that on VHS. And I was like, oh god, that's like crazy. Like I know it inspired, but that'd be like too much. And then it just like ingrained in my head like that fucking worm in Wrath of Khan, where it was just like I couldn't let it go. And then I was like, all right, maybe I can find something. And I found VHS box template designs online. I did some price checking on eBay for blank VHS tapes, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's give it a try. So I ordered these tapes. I kind of mocked up a VHS box design that I gave my brother, who I was mentioning was the art director, and he just fucking killed. Like when he showed me, I was like, oh my god, like I'm so glad we fucking did this. So I got the tapes. On the movie, I actually put like an FBI warning. Like it's got all the stuff that a regular VHS tape would have, including like this has been formatted for your TV screen and everything. And then I put that version. I had to basically put it on a DVD to put it on a VHS.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
Steven,
that's like one of the most simplest, easiest ways to do it. I mean, I do this crazy way where I take my Mac and I kind of like the old days when you had a mini DV deck and you hook it up through FireWire. So it goes from Adobe Premiere CC through FireWire. The program monitor then goes out to the mini DV deck, which then goes out to a VCR, and then there's also a small TV as a monitor to check it out. But
nice.
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is hands down just burn it onto a DVD, in 4x3, and then hooking that up to a VCR. So yeah, I was gonna ask you how you did that, but yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. So.
Steamin Khanum, the music guy, he actually got a DVD VHS player, and that's what he gave me. So I've literally just popped one in one and then popped one in the other.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, holy shit. My props guy, Robert, he came over and we were just like messing around with it. Like, how the fuck does this work? And I felt bad because like I haven't touched a VHS, unfortunately, in a little while. But I'm now primo on that VHS. I was like, I learned some shit.
I get questions about that all the time. People are like, how are you getting stuff onto tape? And like, it's not that hard. It's easy. Like when you figure it out, like it's easy, So
yeah.
So the thing I just want to say is like I think it's awesome when people are not only putting stuff on physical media in any format, no matter what it is, DVD or whatever, but the fact that people are still putting the effort into making a tape copy of something that deserves to be on that format, like that's fucking awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I love
Thank
it.
You, man.
That's fantastic. So serious kudos to you for you and everybody else who was involved in putting that together.
Yeah.
Like that is awesome.
No, thank you, man. It's been nuts. The reception has been pretty surprising. People, I went to a local video store and I asked if I could just put a copy there and some flyers, and they were like, they kind of just stared, like, you made this? I was like, yeah, me and my brother did. And they were like taking it out. They're like, holy shit, like this is really like, I was like, yeah, like we put it together. And the response has been good. One gentleman that I interviewed with, his name's Blaststone Mike, he was freaking out, and he was like, I want to tell everybody that there's only 3 of these out in the world. This is incredibly rare VHS. I'm like, I guess so. I didn't even think about that. He's like, it's a beautiful copy. It's a beautiful copy. But yeah, man, I definitely really value tangible stuff. I mean, it's there, you know, and when people, you know, put the effort to kind of really make something stand out, it definitely, I think, does. So I really appreciate you digging on that.
So I understand that your movie is actually available for rent at a video store. So how, like,
it is.
So, like, what? How did what it work there? I mean, like, way back in the day, like when we were in high school or something like that, like we made like these stupid, shitty little home movies that, like, whatever. It's like the kind of crap that, you know, stuff that we made. Like, we made DVDs of it, and, you know, I'd make the sleeve, like, printed out at home. And I was friendly with the dudes at the video store, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll put it out for rent." Like, sure. So we had our own little section of our DVDs. So I'm wondering, like, so are you? Do you go to this video store frequently? Is this like near where you live, or like what's the story?
It's actually not too far off from yours. It's available for rent in Tucson, Arizona, where I'm originally from. My buddy Alex, he works at this place called Casa Video, which I believe is one of the oldest video stores still around in the country. It's fucking awesome. It's a great place. And when I was in high school and college, my best buddy Nick and I would go there all the time, and we befriend the people working the counter. And this gentleman Alex, who's awesome guy, he went to our screening with that festival in Arizona I was telling you earlier. And he's like, "Hey, whenever you got something, let me know." And I was like, "I got these VHS tapes. Would you mind, you know, putting one in the store?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So I sent it to him, and he took a lot of photos for me, and he took a photo. I put a poster up, and I got to see it over Christmas break. I went home, and there it was, and I kind of moved some of these DVDs around. There was like that fucking Central Intelligence movie and the King Arthur movie that Guy Ritchie did, and I was just like, let's just move those and center that guy. And I walked out. I was like, all right, guys, job done.
Well, you know, we're gonna have to make a connection here, because we did a movie years ago. That's a Christmas movie. It's like a musical kind of a movie, and we would love to get that at a video store. So maybe we'll have to make that connection going over there. Maybe get that available.
Always, let me know.
Awesome,
that'd be great.
So I'm curious now. So I've been to Sedona, Arizona. Is that anywhere near Tucson?
It's close. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not too far off. Tucson's
I know, like,
the best.
Every town's like 2 hours away from each other, but you know.
It's like an hour. Yeah, I think it's about 2 hours. But in Tucson's going to be the best. Just go to Tucson. That's where you're going to have the most fun.
Right.
Anybody who tells you another place, they're liars. Tucson's the best of the area. So I'm putting my foot down. Any Arizona listeners, Tucson's the best one.
I gotta tell you,
you heard it first.
My wife and
Toby
I,
exposed.
we love Arizona now. Like, after that one time, we spent a good week in Arizona and we went to a bunch of different towns.
You
and
your wife. Me and Dane did not spend a romantic week in Arizona.
That's what I said.
I feel cheated.
Did you? Oh, I didn't catch that part.
I said
it
me
just
and my
sounded
wife
like
love going to. So we went to Arizona. You know, we went to a bunch of different towns and stuff, and we went to Jerome and Cottonwood and all that. And
nice.
and we would love to go back. So maybe next time we'll have to go and spend some time at a B&B in Tucson, and then head out, check out Casa Video. So.
Yeah.
So, quick little cheap plug out to Casa Video in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah. Alex Miller, thank you for putting a copy of my movie, probably secretly without your boss knowing.
Well, let's just hope that doesn't happen to you what happened to us, where some Joe Schmo walked into the place, got a membership, took all of our DVDs, left, and never came back and returned them.
No way.
Yeah, weird.
Very creepy.
They were just gone.
That's
very creepy.
I guess in a weird way you have a fan, but in another way, that is.
In another way, we have a middle-aged guy jerking off to high school versions of ourselves.
I love
somewhere.
Christmas musicals.
Right? But so I also want to know. So you have like a sticker on the top of your cassette. Did you print that out yourself? Like, did you go to a company to get that done?
I did it. So my brother was finishing up the designs of the box, and then I just kind of looked for templates. I actually have them right here.
Yeah.
It's the I found there was a horror one, and then there's the when you open up the tape, there's a 50-cent charge tape if it's not rewound that's on there located.
That's awesome.
And then it was I just wanted to put those kind of like little final touches, and in the center too, I think I put it says Knock Knock, a film by Toby Canto, but there's even like a QR code that someone could scan the VHS and take them to a digital copy. Oh, so cool. Basically, the film is accessible in any way for people.
That's
smart.
Wicked cool, dude. I love that too. Like, I just like the fact that people are throwing away, like, people throwing together like different ways to check it out like that through each format. Like, that's great. You know what I mean? That's wicked cool.
Yeah.
Is the VHS available to purchase anywhere? Like, if any of our listeners wanted a VHS copy, is that a possibility or no?
Oh no, absolutely.
Is there only 3 copies?
Right now, there's like 7 copies, and I kind of was playing it out by ear and kind of getting a feel for it. And I kind of said if I got emails of people, like a good amount of people, let's say if 10 people, like, hey, I'd really want a VHS, I would go out and put it together. But I kind of wanted a good number. If it was like 3 people, I'd be like, oh, it's kind of tough. But I mean, if people really want it, send us an email, Facebook message, anything, and I would definitely be down if people are down for VHS. So
cause I just gotta say, my buddy Drew Marvick, who did Pool Party Massacre.
Cool. Yeah.
He released his movie on VHS. We just got a copy, so we're definitely gonna do an episode on it and hopefully have him on as a guest.
Awesome.
He doesn't know that yet, so Drew, if you're listening, be on the show.
Hey, exclusive now, guys. He's going to do that interview.
Yeah, he's put it on VHS and he sells out of it every time.
Really?
Yeah. So
good to know. All right, maybe I should just get on that train. That's awesome.
So VHS is coming back, guys. Plug Pool Party Massacre.
Speaking of having those tapes out available, we got a really special sweet treat for all of our listeners out there. This is just for you guys out there who've been listening to the show. We have a little contest that we're going to be running for a copy of Knock Knock on VHS home video cassette. That's right. So, you little boys and ghouls out there, here's the scoop. Here's the rules. You guys need to send us at the VHSBandits@gmail.com an email. And you need to send us
the suspense is killing me.
You need to send us your name and your mailing address. All right? And what we're going to do is we're going to pool those together, okay? And when we pool those together, we're going to do a little randomizer, and we're going to pick out one name, and that name is not only just going to get a copy of Knock Knock on home video cassette, but there's also going to be some VHS Bandits goodies as well in that prize pack. So for all you guys out there,
digging it.
This is the official Knock Knock VHS Bandits sweepstakes. No purchase necessary.
So one more time, how do they enter?
How do you little boys and ghouls enter? You go to send us an email at the VHSBandits@gmail.com and shoot us your name and your mailing address. And so we're going to be once this episode goes out there, we're going to have 2 weeks until the next episode comes up. So you guys have 2 weeks until the next episode comes up to send us your email information. All right? And so once that is out there, then we're going to pick out the winner. And they're going to get a sweet prize pack. No purchase necessary.
Wow. I wish I could win.
Everybody's going to want to win. There can only be one winner.
Valid.
So there you go.
Members of the VHS Bandits and associated family members are not eligible to win this game.
Sweepstakes and 10/31/96. So there we go, everybody. We got a cool little sweepstakes out there for a copy of the movie and a couple of little goodies. So there you go.
I love goodies.
Yeah. So, Toby, so I'm curious. Now, obviously, your movie has a whole lot of little references to other movies in there. Like, we see little pins for the stuff and Monster Squad and stuff like that. So, I want to know. Tell me about some of your favorite movies of, some horror movies in the 80s. What was your series inspiration for making this flick?
Great question. I have to say, probably I think what I start to realize from some of these films that I do is that they all kind of circle around my love for what I think is one of the greatest films ever made, which is Ghostbusters. It was the film that I probably forced my parents to watch more than any movie. We used to borrow the VHS player from my neighbor, and he had a copy of Ghostbusters, and I'd probably watch it 3 times in a day. But you know what, the thing that was nuts? They never got like upset. They're just like, we get it, you know? And so secretly, in some way, I'm building up to just finally make a Ghostbusters movie. But the one thing that I grew up really loving, especially with hanging with my mom and my brothers and my sisters, that we would watch monster movies. And, you know, Predator and Aliens and It and stuff like that. And I really, when I was initially trying to come up with this idea for a movie, and this idea of Knock Knock kind of started to like gestate, I was like, I think what turned the tide and kind of started making me want to add those characters and really think about the color dynamic and the music was like, I wanted to make a movie that reminded me of sitting with my family and having a really good time and laughing and freaking out. And, you know, so some of the biggest inspirations were movies like, The Lost Boys, which we love to watch, totally. Fright Night, which I think is fucking, I just watched it again like 2 days ago, and I was like,
I think that's evident watching this movie, Fright Night. I got some Fright Night.
Oh yeah. There's definitely. I mean, it's like a Fright Night, Scooby Doo mishmash with like Evil Dead 2, and there's like some Army of Darkness, and like the Monster Squad. So it's just like the Monster Squad was another really big one, and so it was like those kind of 80s movies that weren't afraid to have a little bit of fun with the material. I've always preferred horror comedies mainly to like straightforward horror movies because I do love to have a little bit of fun with my material, and movies like Night of the Creeps have always stuck with me. Totally. Fred Dekker, I think Fred Dekker's, I'm so bummed that dude's disappeared, but now he's coming back because he co-wrote the new Predator movie with Shane Black. So I'm like,
yeah, right.
I'm as excited I am for a new Predator movie. I'm really excited that Fred Dekker is getting work again.
Yeah.
And so, those kind of 80s films were the ones, those 80s monster movies were always like a big part of me growing up. And so that's what I wanted to create with this. So.
Nice. And speaking of Fright Night, I just wanted to say, we were talking about actors before, and I'm going to butcher this dude's name. Lucas Alexander Ayub.
Oh, Ayub. Yeah, Lucas Ayub.
he played the mysterious neighbor. He did a very good job of being mysterious and a neighbor.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah. I knew off the bat when I was coming to the movie that I wanted Lucas to play this. And when we were doing our sketches and our short films, Lucas had a tendency to get these like really wild. He was playing like these like ex-porn star drug dealers and rappers. Like, my friends were just writing like the craziest shit for him, and he was always a trooper. He always prepared, and like, you know, he'd be like this like leopard print like robe, his hair's all wet, he has like fake cocaine on his face, and he'd be like practicing his elbow, and then he'd get on stage, he's like, hey, where's my fucking money? And so he's just so he's like crazy professional. And you know, I sat down with all the actors before we kind of started getting into production. I kind of gave them background, and Lucas was, you know, really attentive to like everything I was telling him, and you know, which actors I wanted him to kind of evoke, or at least which personalities or characters I was like, you know, I wanted him to evoke. And when he came on set, you know, we kind of just did his monologue in one scene. We allowed him just to kind of like go, and he gets in Olivia's face at some point. Spoiler warning. And Cece, who played Olivia, actually started tearing up, and I was like, cut. And she kind of wiped her. She's like, that was really intense. And it was so nuts. And he was like, okay. He's like, anything I need to do? I was like, you did it. You killed it in one. Let's just do that again. Let's get a close up. And everything. And I love that guy. We've been best friends really good friends for a super, super long time. We've known each other, from Tucson. Him and his brother, Danny, and I were best friends in high school. And he's about 2 years, I think, younger. And, we lived together in Austin. Now he's out in Atlanta. Rocking the acting scene there. So cool. He's, you know, people hire him. If you're in Atlanta, you're looking for actors. This dude is incredibly professional. He's funny. He's a great presence. And I think that was the thing that really stood out to me. And why I wanted him is he gave such a great presence in the movie, because half the movie is kind of him just being a silent figure. And then when he finally gets to talk, he just pulls the rug out from everybody. So.
Yeah.
One thing I
Yeah.
wanted to
And
mention.
I also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention real quick. So when you do go on Vimeo to go rent the movie, because everybody really should go do that and go check out the movie. If you don't, end up winning the home video cassette of it, there are some behind the scene interviews that are on there too. So you should definitely check those out after watching the movie.
Yeah, we just posted a new one yesterday with Lucas, actually. So there'll be a few more coming in the next couple months. So
Awesome.
Now, when did you film this?
we filmed this about I'm gonna say like a year and a half to 2 years ago, and we filmed it over the course of like 2 weekends.
Wow.
2 long
That's
weekends, about 4 days apiece, and it took a little bit because we had some location issues.
Oh, what's that
things.
like?
Oh man.
I've had
too
nothing
much,
but the grace of God when it comes to locations.
dude. Oh my god, man. It was this
That never
situation
happens.
where I came at it as I gave fucking breakdowns of what we were gonna put in there. I drew out like maps.
That's
like,
your
this is what we're
mistake.
gonna move. I
Don't
know.
tell them what you're
I
gonna do.
Emailed consistently, and there was no issue. And then when we came on the location, it was like I had said nothing. And they're like, "What is going on? What are you doing?" And I was just like about to lose my mind. And we actually had, unfortunately, a gap to shooting the second half of the movie that went on for a few months, and people were wondering if it was even going to get finished. But I had kind of I guess I was a bit my pride and was just like, listen, we got to get it done. And they completely understood. And the second half went way smoother. Everybody was kind of like on point. We knew what we were going into. And it flew and we hit the mark. And so that it took the pressure off. And
Well, that's good to hear. Like a lot of people, if they're not filmmakers, if they're just fans of film, which is great, like hearing stuff like that, the effort and all the work and the trial that goes along with making a movie, you don't see it on screen. And it's just good to hear that, so you can even appreciate more of what you're watching, because people will say like people are, can just like shit on a movie so easily. And not that your movie is one to be shit on, but you know what I mean? If you've ever made a movie, you have no idea how hard it is to get something. Like, it's just a miracle that any movie gets finished at all. Now, is there anything else? Like, how big was your crew? And like, because I wanted to mention that I really liked the lighting on this. It was very the aesthetic was really cool, and I love the fog machine. Big fan of the fog out the window. Seriously. That was it looked really good. So is there any crew members you want to give a shout out to, or like talk us about the aesthetic and like you said, your brother was the art director. Like a lot of people don't even know what an art director is, or what I mean?
Absolutely. Just a quick side note, kind of what you were saying right before is like I definitely understand that, and I think for people who are interested in going into filmmaking, know that it's fucking hard, but if you love it and you really believe in you believe in it, you believe in what's that it's what you want to do, you'll get it done, and you should always be proud. I always tell people, even if the movie might not work, let's say it's a comedy but it's not that funny, but you always have to give yourself a pat on the back for getting it done, because half the trouble is people don't even start, but to actually, and then when you do, and then you got to get it done. Always be proud of the work that you do, and it's always a learning process, no matter if it's good or bad. Always take that and learn from it. And it is tough, because when I made Dorm of the Dead, for example, we received comments on YouTube, people saying like, President Obama should find these people and drone kill them on site.
Oh my god.
And I was just thinking, man, I got to assemble my class to shoot this movie on a campus that basically said they would never allow a movie to happen again.
Right.
We utilized dorms, the football stadium that nobody was allowed to be on. We got permission to shoot. There's a whole sequence where the kids get chased by these dead football player zombies, like college football player zombies. And we utilized like the studio, the television studio that I was working, and it was just like, it was this crazy thing that we all came together and like somebody could watch and be like, you kill these people because it sucked. I was just like,
right,
oh, God,
yeah.
you know. You said something that's like, yeah, it's an invisible process, like that quote in Futurama when, you know, if you do something right, then nobody's going to think you did anything at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you know that it is a process, know that it's hard work, but, you know, creators as ourselves work really hard to try to make stuff that's fun, interesting, exciting, and dynamic, especially in this time when there's so much media. So that was just a side note that I wanted to put to comment what you're saying.
No, yeah, I think that's great for people to know. Yeah.
But in terms of the dynamic and the crew, I gotta give, basically, it was nuts because a lot of people, this was their first movie. Mm-hmm. I had to assemble a crew of people that maybe had slight experience or experience in other factors, but had never maybe worked in a movie. And it was nuts, but everybody gave it 150%, which was really exciting. In terms of the lighting, my buddy Donovan from Tucson, who was funny, when I used to work at a movie theater on the college campus, and him and his girlfriend would come by and just watch the movies, and we would just shoot the shit. And we kept in contact for a long time, and when I had the script, I was like, I want you to come by and I want you to shoot this. And he read it, and he's like, let's do it. And, you know, we had a lot of talks about what to do, and especially when the kind of stuff goes down, really emulating, I think, which was those like neon blue and like fuchsia kind of like lights. It kind of reminded me of like Death Spa. And stuff like that. Yeah. Which was just like, I loved that tone. I've always just, you know, it's VHS. Like that's what I think of.
Yeah.
And,
totally.
and he totally got it. And there's this when the stuff's kind of going down, we had kind of like people kind of get flashed with lighting all around. And I remember telling Donovan, I was like, Don, you know, I want this like light to be moving around. He's like, oh, so like Aliens. So he was remembering the scene in Aliens where they had like this like light going on in the tunnel.
Totally. Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it looks really nice, but really what it was either me, my brother, our buddy Robert, who was the props guy, or I don't know, maybe our sound guy, Maurizio, who was one of the executive producers, would hold on to these lights that we had and would just go around. We called them Tai Chi lighters. There's a thank you in the credits.
I was wondering what that was. I thought that was like
and
some
it was basically anybody who had to. It was basically anybody who could act like an inflatable waving tube man, but with a light. And it just came out looking like this really like dynamic light thing. But Don was amazing. He's a fantastic director himself, and he did a phenomenal job being a DP. Eddie, my brother, was the art director. He helped design Sam's old photos. Like Sam has these great photos where he's like you know younger, a boxer.
Right.
And I mean, he did this crazy work, and he did the logos. He designed one of the posters for the movie. Hillary.
The posters are great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Both of them. There's the VHS cover, and then the poster that's on IMDb. They both look great.
Yeah, Eddie designed the white one, and then my buddy Sam did the black one, which is the VHS cover. And Sam was just like, he's like, what do you want? I was like, I want this to look like a cover of when I used to go to the grocery store and be like, what the hell is that? Because that's the thing that I always loved, is like half those VHSs were sold by the cover, you know?
Absolutely.
Like that's all really what they had to like grab you. And so I was just like, you know, we looked at a few posters and I gave him ideas, and then he just took some time and he sent it to me. I was like, that's it, dude. That's exactly what I wanted. And Eddie, my brother, is a huge Mondo fan. Mondo's out here in Austin, and he himself is a graphic designer. And so he was really, you know, we talked a lot about kind of like those montage posters that Mondo does. And he just did something that was evocative of that. And I was just really, I'm so grateful.
I thought you were talking about the shitty Squeeze It ripoff, the Mondo.
Oh, Mondo.
Those, do you know what I mean? The like Mondo, like Kool-Aid
Mondo,
Burst
the drink from
I was like, what does that
when
have
we were
to do with
kids?
this? Yeah.
No, Mondo posters. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They do like they do just like, they hire these designers to do these like crazy new versions of posters to classic films. They, you know, I wish I could show you.
They
I
did like
purchased this one.
Alien, and they do VHS releases too. They did Beyond the Black Rainbow and Miss 45 and stuff like that. So
just recently they just launched this. They did a Universal horror show a couple years ago, which I got this sweet Creature from the Black Lagoon poster, and they
cool.
just this year,
Nice.
or actually within this last couple of weeks, they just launched a second Universal monster thing, which has this amazing Invisible Man one that I wish I got, but it fucking sold out like Mondo always does. Let's see who else. Oh, I mentioned my buddy Robert, who was the props guy. He did the case, and he just did a bunch of like
That
little
looked great.
knickknacks. Yeah, he did a really great job, and I worked with him before, and he was just eager to kind of do something again. And he also played the owner of Peisterdamus, Amadeus von Nostromo.
Oh, nice. It's a great name, by the way.
Thank you. And then Hillary, who was our set designer, Hillary McLaughlin. She was amazing. She had worked. It was kind of funny, and I don't know if I've actually ever told Hillary this story, but I knew I wanted her to do the set design. I worked with her at this kind of fancy grocery store called Central Market. Actually, take out Central Market. I'm sorry, I don't hope that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, fuck you, Central Market.
But she works in the flower thing, but she's also this huge horror movie buff. She designs flowers, but she also designs other things. And I was like, oh, I knew that I wanted her, but I was like, Hillary, do you have any friends? And she's like, no, but I could do it. I was like, oh, that'd be great. And I just remember walking away and being like, fucking got you. I got you.
Man.
And she killed it. I mean, the thing about Knock Knock is we used, one location. We utilized it a lot. And she really helped flesh out everybody's space with really unique items. And every place becomes a different space despite the fact that we use the same location. She did such a wonderful job. Maurizio and Ron were our executive producers. Maurizio helped with sound, and Ron, I gets a credit because he fucking did so much random shit. He was a second cameraman at one point. He fixed a hole in the wall in our location.
Oh, man.
That was nuts. He did some Tai Chi lighting. But those guys were wonderful. They lent us great equipment, basically out of just the fact that they wanted to do a film. They had saw the GoFundMe page that I had done initially, which we got, great photos of everybody in costume to really kind of show off what I was going in terms of like the visual dynamic. And they were like, we want to be a part of this. And they were great. They helped quite a bit. See if there was anybody else. I mean, there was PA. Connor was a great PA. And all the actors and cast. I mean, Shannon, my production coordinator, really helped keep people in line, which was nuts when things got a little crazy. But, everybody, I'm just grateful that everybody who was a part of that. So
great. Awesome. Now, is there any, I know you mentioned the location issue, but is there any stories from set where, something didn't go quite according to plan or something? I'm sure there are. This is a loaded question, but
it's funny
and you
the
had to
smoke
like
machine.
improvise in the answer.
There was a couple. You said that you kind of mentioned the smoke machine would not blast smoke at times, or would not play smoke. It would not do what I wanted. So I actually ended up kind of combining the smoke we had with like digital smoke for some of those sequences to kind of really flesh it out. We had kind of these like gusts of wind come out at some point, and we're like, okay, so we need fans. We need lots of fans. And we ended up buying one of those like Amazon on the spot. We call them and they're like, oh yeah, we'll order a fan from Amazon. It'll come. And we kind of set up in front of people. It's like, okay, this is gonna blow, and it did nothing. They literally one guy's hair kind of just like flew like this, and we're like, holy shit, what do we do? And Ron, fucking set superhero, is like, I have a leaf blower. And he pulls that thing, and it just was like, boom, everybody was like, God damn it. But it worked perfectly.
Yeah, that seemed good.
Yeah. Other things, I mean, we have, I don't know, like, there was always like a little, like most sets, man, there's always little things that are gonna go nuts. But I specifically remember the smoke machine not blasting the smoke like I thought it was going to, and the wind effect not playing out until we got that damn leaf blower. Then everything set perfectly.
Nice. Yeah, it's sometimes funny how like something can go wrong, but it ends up making the final product even better because you have to think creatively and differently than you thought you had it all planned out, but now you instantly have to go into creative mode again.
Yeah. I mean, filmmaking is like putting together a puzzle, man. You know, you are a problem solver, and no matter how much you can prepare, I guarantee you, everybody who wants to make movies, something is always gonna go wrong on set. And the only thing that you can do is be responsive, be adaptive, and really, you gotta be a fucking MacGyver. Assess what's around you and use what you got to try to sell it the best way you can, or in a different way, but just in a way that reflects from your heart what you want it to be. That's the most important thing. It might not play out exactly, but do something that's I guess in the spirit of what you want it to be. But be adaptive. That's a big thing. Be able to adapt.
Yeah. And it looks like you did that swimmingly.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's maybe a few more gray hairs in my head, but yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh man! So now off of this, since you kind of want to leave it the way it is, do you have any other plans of any other projects that you got like pretty locked in that you might want to let people know about?
Yeah, I'm in the process of writing 2 features right now. I'm heavy into one, which is a horror film set during World War I. Cool. That's kind of like this. I don't know. I kind of describe it like a Guillermo del Toro World War I film with like Pan Labyrinth elements. Yeah. But it's a pretty cool story. I'm digging it so far, and it's kind of like a Dirty Dozen situation where these guys have to fight this like monster. And then it gets even weirder from there. And then I'm kind of working on a baseball comedy script for this, I guess this event that happened in the 70s where there was these riots because people got too wasted. It was a story that I heard about, but my buddy Lucas, the guy who played Mysterious Neighbor, I told him about this, and he's like, let's write something out. So we've been kind of working on a treatment. And then I got a new short that I'm working on with Carrie and Lucas about a father and son kind of reconnecting. The son is an actor, the father is a con man, and the son is auditioning for the role of a con man. And so through this awkward encounter, they're both kind of reconnecting. Oh, cool. Yeah, and then I'm working with a gentleman here in Austin who he's a really cool dude. His name's Adam. He's working on a documentary about Nickelodeon called The Orange Years, which everybody... Yeah, keep an eye out for that, man. Everything that's been coming out sounds really, really great. Nice. He's working on a feature screenplay called King and Lionheart, and I've just been helping him develop, but I'm sure he's going to want to try to get something in production for that soon. And it's this kind of like Lost Boys, like the Peter Pan Lost Boys, but these kids have gone a bit feral, and these two kids kind of innocent kids kind of get caught in the crossfire. So it's adolescence, it's growing up, and It's a great story. So I got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, but I'm hoping to get more stuff done, especially after Knock Knock. The bug just grew, and I realized how much I love writing and directing. Producing is great. I love to support people and how their movies, but I'm a writer and director at heart, and the more I can kind of tell the stories that I want to tell, the better it's going to be. Especially if I can do a Knock Knock 2, because I definitely got some big ideas for that.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to see what comes out next.
Thank you kindly, good sir.
All right, everybody. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough for joining us on this show today. We had a great time watching your movie, and looking forward to seeing some more of these stuff down the road.
It was a real pleasure. I'm grateful for you guys allowing me the opportunity to talk. It was really great getting to meet you guys and just getting to talk about movies, man. Hope I can do it again soon.
Well, absolutely. You'll have to be a guest and watch a movie with us, and then I would discuss.
Love that. If there's something like Death Spa or fucking Samurai Cop or Miami Connection, please.
Dude, any of those, man. All of the above.
Absolutely, dude. You're welcome on any of them. All right.
I love it.
We'll get you back, my brother. All right, dude. Yeah, well, thank you so much, and everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the VHS Bandits podcast. This is Dane Train, and I am with.
Me?
Yeah!
Jennifer Hansen.
Oh, hello. All right, everybody, thank you again for listening. And until next time, be kind and rewind.